Welcome to Mind Body Monday. In today's session, we're going to be exploring the topic of fiber. And if you experience or have experienced or even know somebody who has any digestive problems, gas, bloating, nausea, etc., or other gut issues, there may be some answers for you here today. In today's Mind Body Monday, I'm going to share with you 5 common mistakes people make when it comes to fiber and how to avoid them. I'm going to share with you my 10 tips of how to easily and safely add more fiber into your diet. And I'm also going to share with you a recent discovery about a super fiber supplement that can help with many, many health benefits. So just a quick medical disclaimer as we begin. I'm not here to advise, diagnose, or treat any health issues. This is purely for educational purposes and does not substitute for professional advice. I believe in individualized care, so please consult with your healthcare advisor before making any changes. So go ahead, I'm curious, how many of you at this live session are already conscious of adding fiber into your diet? Go ahead and just type in the chat if you are already adding fiber, either through fiber-rich food sources or through some form of fiber supplements. If you can do that, that'll be amazing. And if you see me looking over to the side, that's simply because I've got an extra screen, and that way I can stay monitored on the chat. So go ahead, yes. And if you have included a type of fiber, I'm curious to know what fiber, if it's a food form or a supplemental form, because that will help me see what you're doing and then gear this towards you. So yeah, fiber-rich food, that's amazing. Anybody else? What other fiber foods or fiber supplements are you adding in? Great. So you continue to let me know. Yes, someone's written in dates, raisins, fruit. Fantastic. Just by the way, for those of you who are new here, my name is Avraham Gundle. I'm founder and director for the Center for Integrated Medicine. I'm qualified as an osteopath and I practice functional and integrated medicine. And over the last 30 years in private practice, I've been privileged to have helped literally thousands of people recover from a whole host of chronic health conditions, be it digestive issues, autoimmune conditions, asthma, eczema, etc., just to name a few. I always like to begin a Mind Body Monday with some sort of story from my clinic. And just recently, I saw a 65-year-old man suffering from chronic constipation and a few other major health challenges. He'd been to many specialists, was on a bag of medications and a whole lot of stool softeners as well. He came to see me as he still was not settled with his regular bowel habits. And I made some recommendations to him based on what I'm going to be sharing with you today. So stay tuned for the results. Now, before we dive into looking at fiber and some of the benefits, it's always good, I find, just to take a quick look at history. And this is literally going to take 1.5 minutes or less, because there was an Irish surgeon that traveled extensively through Africa. His name was Dr. Dennis Burkitt. And he did some interesting research between the indigenous African people, namely the Bushmen, and modern day folk, so to speak. And the Bushmen seem to be free from most of the diseases of a modern day diet, including heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and obesity. And Dr. Burkitt concluded that the main difference, one of the main differences in the Bushmans being free of these modern day diseases, is he attributed it to fiber, because their stool was about 2 pounds of weight, while the modern day man or woman, so to speak, is only about 4 ounces, which is 87.5% smaller. And he put this down to the amount of fiber they ate in their natural diet, be it in roots and berries and leaves and plants. Now, this is important research because it gives us a little bit of a clue in terms of some of the benefits that you're going to be understanding today. And now with fast foods and highly processed foods, there are all sorts of issues that come up with health specifically and bowel health specifically as well. In fact, having the right kinds and the right amounts of fiber can actually prevent many, many, many health diseases and health challenges. One of them is obesity. And this is because that fiber slows down the rate at which food enters your bloodstream and increases the speed at which food exits through the digestive tract. That keeps the blood sugar and cholesterol levels at an ideal balance and quickly eliminates toxins from your gut and reduces appetite. I know that was quite a mouthful, but that is important to understand, and we'll review that shortly. So research shows that fiber can lower blood sugar as much as certain diabetes medications as well, lower cholesterol and promote weight loss and prevent colon cancer. By the way, on the weight loss, this is a deep subject. It's not for now, but one of the benefits of a particular kind of fiber I'm going to mention will help with weight balance. So just stay tuned for that. On the health aspect, there's so much research done about colon cancer and preventing colon cancer and cultivating a healthy bowel and microbiome. In fact, a recent study showed that certain fibers contribute to the manufacture of something called butyrate, which is a chemical made by bacteria in the gut. Why is this important? Is because this molecule is known to turn on an anti-cancer gene and turn off colon cancer. In fact, fiber has been shown to reduce the risk of colon cancer by as much as 1/3 and breast cancer by as much as 40%. That's really, really significant. Healthy fiber and the right kinds of fiber, I'll get to that in a minute, also lower the risk of cholesterol issues, reduces heart disease by as much as 40%. So if you have diabetes, then you may want to consider adding fiber to your diet because it has a role in insulin regulation. And if you do so, it's always best to work very closely with your prescribing doctor. This way, you're able to adjust any meds if needed. So now that we've had an overview on some of the benefits and research of fiber, it's always good to remind ourselves that basically there are two kinds of fibers. The one is soluble fiber and the one is insoluble fiber. Insoluble fiber is what bulks up the stool and it helps it pass through the digestive tract much quicker. And it also confers other benefits like pH balancing, that's the acid alkalinity, and may help to prevent diverticulitis, an inflammatory condition of the colon, as well as colon cancer. The other form of fiber is soluble fiber. This sort of dissolves in water and it makes a gel-like viscous substance. And this slows down the digestive tract and makes a person feel fuller faster. And this is important for weight management. I'm going to share with you some research about this just shortly. Soluble fiber also has great benefits for heart health, blood sugar regulation, and reducing LDL cholesterol. One of my patients, when I asked him about what sort of fiber he was taking, he told me, he's very careful to make sure he has 1 to 2 bowls of Kellogg's All Bran every morning. He's been doing this for years. He also has, by the way, a high sugar diabetes condition and obesity, and I'll get to this shortly. Now, most people could think, and the advertising could lead us to believe that wheat fiber, or rather cereal fibers coming from a box, is really the best way to go. But if you look carefully at the ingredient lists at most cereal boxes, including Kellogg's, there's approximately 16 grams of sugar that come along with 100 grams of product. So even though there may be some benefits to the fiber, there are also some health risks. That's an extra approximately 3 teaspoons of hidden sugar in one's diet. Now, for a diabetic or someone who is obese, that is not a good idea. So when it comes to these two kinds of fiber, the soluble fiber and insoluble fiber, they both confer benefits. And it's always good to take a balance or take both. That way you can get the benefits of both. I'm going to share with you in the chat now. And for those of you who are watching the replay, I'll share that in the comments as well. And also please post comments there. That way more people can get benefits. And if you listen to my podcast, check out the show notes. This way you can also stay tuned to the latest. So in the chat, I'm just going to post some of the benefits of where to get the fibers from. Now, a good source of soluble fiber, my favorite, is really ground flax seeds. And I'll get to this a little bit in more detail. Chia seeds and hemp seeds. Obviously, fruits, particular kinds of fruits, I'll get to that in a minute, vegetables, beans, and I'm going to share with you shortly my favorite kinds of beans, nuts, seeds, and most whole grains, because the gut metabolizes these soluble fibers, provides energy for the microbiome, which if you've attended other Mind Body Mondays, you'll understand more about that. And this is where all the benefits start. So insoluble forms of fiber, these are the more roughage that does firm out the stool, and it sort of scours the intestines, and it has pluses and has minuses. Stay tuned. And good sources of those include vegetables, beans, dark green leafy vegetables, carrots, radishes, beets, fruit skins, and certain whole grains. So in my clinic, I recommend most of my patients to get daily at least 30 to 50 grams of fiber in their diet every single day. And I'll talk about how to introduce that fiber if it's new to you shortly. So let's look at easy ways to introduce more fiber into your diet. But first, I wanted to share with you a recent discovery regarding an ancient fiber source that can help a person lose weight in conjunction with a healthful program and lifestyle, lower a person's cholesterol, reduce appetite, balance blood sugar more effectively than any other fiber supplement. So this fiber is called glucomannan. I have put the link in the chat. And for those listening, this is an affiliate link. I've spent a lot of time researching which is the best forms of fiber, and this is the one I've discovered, and this is what I recommend in my practice. So glucomannan, it's a long word, so I'm just going to use GM for now, is a soluble fiber. It's fermentable, which is a good thing because that provides food for the microbiome, for the probiotics, so it serves as a prebiotic. And it's very viscous, and its thickness is a very good thing. And this kind of fiber comes from a type of yam native to Asia. And what makes this fiber so unusual is that it can absorb up to 50 times its weight in water. So therefore, it can be very helpful in weight management program. This fiber also leaves the small bowel slowly, and slowing it down reduces food absorption from the gut into the bloodstream. And then now you can understand why it could impact glucose levels and insulin levels in a good way, because it doesn't spike sugar levels, glucose levels in the blood, and leads to a more balanced insulin in the bloodstream. So this GM also helps to secrete a certain kind of hormone called cholecystokinin, which is another way to control the appetite. So it's a very, very helpful supplement form. It's also been studied for its effects on constipation, cholesterol levels, blood glucose, blood pressure, and insulin resistance. That's a lot for one kind of fiber. Now, As a cautionary note, many people make mistakes when it comes to adding fiber into their diet. So here are 5 common mistakes that people can make and what you can do to avoid them when adding fiber or fiber supplements to your diet. Number 1, fiber can be both beneficial for constipation and diarrhea, depending on how much fluid is taken in with the fiber. So make sure when you're taking the right kind of fiber, you're taking the right kind of liquid intake. As I mentioned to you, GM absorbs a lot of water. Number 2, when you start taking fiber into your diet, it's best to do so gradually, because this way you will be most likely avoid uncomfortable symptoms like gas or bloating, possible nausea, and even stomach cramps as the digestive tract gets used to a new kind of fiber. Number 3, if a person has an active inflammatory bowel condition like IBS, colitis, Crohn's disease, etc., and I see a lot of these conditions in my practice, it's very, very important to work very closely with a healthcare provider, because at different stages of the inflammatory bowel condition, different fibers can either irritate or soothe the membranes of the gut. So it's very important to make sure you're working closely with someone, because the right fibers at the right time could make a big difference, and the wrong fibers at the wrong time could really upset the balance very much. In terms of timing, a lot of people ask me, Avram, when's the best time to take fiber? So the first answer in general is when you remember. But as equally important, it's best not to take fiber before a meal, because it will give you a sense of feeling full. And this way, a person will end up eating less quality food, less nutritionally dense food, which means less nutrients for the body. Of course, if a person is on a weight reduction program, this may be a helpful strategy, once again, working closely with a professional. Lastly, and this is really, really important, don't take any medications at least 1 hour before or 2 hours after taking certain fibers like glucomannan. Why? Because this fiber may also absorb some of the effects of the medication, and therefore the body will not get the benefits of that medication. So that's really important to bear in mind. Just before we close, I want to share with you some of actually 10 tips, my favorite tips that I give for how to safely increase fiber in your diet. My favorite is adding flax, chia, and hemp seeds. And I do this by getting a coffee grinder that I just use for my seeds. I grind half a cup at a time, keep it in a tightly sealed container in the fridge or best freezer. And then I recommend to add 2 tablespoons, 1 or 2 tablespoons a day of these flax seeds or this mix. You can sprinkle them onto soups or salads or vegetable dishes or in some unsweetened applesauce, etc. Add legumes into your diet. This is number 2. My favorite is azuki beans, which are fiber rich and confer many, many health benefits. When people think about fibers, often vegetables are not on the list, and they should be. With low calories and high levels of antioxidants and protective properties and phytochemicals, it's so important to add extra veggies to our daily diet. Number 4, whole grains are always best, like brown rice or quinoa, buckwheat are all rich in fiber. Number 5, eat more fruit, but specifically the berries, which are lower in sugar, high in fiber, and have many other anti-inflammatory properties and phytochemicals to advance health and have anti-aging benefits as well. Nuts, this is great. A handful of nuts a day, things like almonds, walnuts, pecans, hazelnuts, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, every day in our diet. This confers so many additional health benefits as well as the fiber. And I tell my patients to soak them overnight. This way, they become more nutrient dense and also easier to digest. Now, when you start adding more fiber, the best is slow at first. Add slowly new levels of fiber into your diet, because if you don't do this, there'll be more gas, perhaps, or bloating, or discomfort, constipation, etc., which are all avoidable. Just remember to increase more water with your fiber, specifically something like glucomannan. Number 8, consider a fiber supplement if you have a busy lifestyle, you're not managing to grind your seeds or increase these other foods in your diet. Adding a fiber supplement may be a really good way to do this. Just make sure, read the label, that there aren't any artificial sweeteners or binders or fillers, as most of them do have this in. Number 9 is to add more water, drink more water or fluids when you're adding more diet. And lastly, if you're looking for a leveraged fiber supplement, then you can always look to GM glucomannan. And this way you're able to get many, many other benefits as well. Just remember, when you add this, and if you are on medication, have the fiber at least 1 hour before, 2 hours after taking medications. So coming back to my patient for a moment, I suggested that he stop the Kellogg cereals, in fact, all the breakfast cereals, and switch to the flax, chia, hemp seed combination, which he did. And I added an additional soluble fiber to his program. He did this and slowly began to feel an improvement in his bowel habits and his bowel function. And I'm hoping in time, he's also going to get many, many of the other benefits as well. So in summary, having the right type of fiber, the right amounts of fiber can give you tremendous health benefits well beyond digestive benefits. And just before I end with my weekly challenge, which I do every Mind Body Monday, I have something very special coming up and I think everybody can benefit from. So I'm going to invite you just to stay tuned, watch out for my emails, because in a few weeks, I will be sharing this program with you of limited spaces. It's a special program where you can gain maximum health in your personal life and in your physical life and vitality. I'm going to take a moment just to check the chat to see if there are any quick questions that may require an answer. Okay, amazing. Very good. Okay, so the challenge for today is for 10 days, I invite you all to consider adding 1 to 2 tablespoons of ground flax seeds to your diet every day. And you can do this for 10 days. Remember to add the requisite amount of water, 1 to 2 extra glasses of water as well, to make sure that the soluble fibers are moving through well. And I'll be curious to hear how you are going to get on with that as well. Thanks once again for joining me on Mind Body Monday, and I'll really look forward to connecting with you next week. And remember, Mind Body Monday is where self-care is the heart of healthcare. All you need to do is take one small step to advance your health in mind, body, and soul. Look forward to seeing you next week.